I'm Philip Staehle. I'm owner and winemaker for Enkidu Wine, and with me here is my 2017 Diener Ranch Petite Sirah. And this basically, the tasting notes for this wine are the same really for the 2016 and the 15 and the 18 we just bottled and so forth. The wines are really consistent coming out of this vineyard. And this is a vineyard that I've been working with now for, wow, it's been about 15 years now. So I have 15 vintages out of this vineyard, and it's actually a vineyard that's owned by two men that I grew up with, right down the street from where I was in Lake County. And I can make all kinds of Lake County jokes, but I won't. And it's this is a vineyard that is growing up in the Red Hills in Lake County. And it is at a 2,000-foot elevation, and it's really red, rocky, volcanic soil. It's part of the Mykonos range, and the Mykonos, which is very volcanic. And in fact, in Clear Lake, over the lake itself sits a volcano, and it is really the landmark really within that county. This vineyard is one of the vineyards that I actually do a lot of work in, and myself, because Petite Sirah, they talk about how Pinot really needs a lot of work. Well, Petite Sirah, I think, does as well in order to get it right. It tends to produce a tremendous amount of fruit on top of each other, and it will create balls of clusters that are all intertwined. It could be like 6 or 7 clusters all together. So you have to really get in there and drop a lot of fruit, so everything is hanging nice and free and not on top of each other. And then also, you have to be really careful with the canopy as well. So with the canopy being the leaf and the leaf protection, it's grown in, as I say, in Lake County, and it's very hot up there. There's regularly, days exceeding 100 degrees up in Lake County. I think that throughout the growing season, there will be 15 to 20 days of 100 degrees or more. And so with a vineyard like that, and with a varietal like with Petite Sirah, they need to have some coverage on the front side, on the sun side, you might say. So on the back side, on the non-sun side, they will completely clear off all of the leaves, so there's a lot more air and light getting in on that side, but they still need dapple light. So when I say dapple light, on the sun side, I still need to go in there. I need to manipulate the canopy. So I'll do a lot of leaf pulling, which takes a tremendous amount of time, because the crews don't really want to go in there and, it's almost like leaf after leaf, just kind of picking select leaves. It's a very arduous task, but the results are stunning with these wines. And it's, they typically are the most concentrated and the richest wines that I produce, and with a great amount of structure. And I use Petite Sirah for blending in other wines as well, because of its structure, and also because it doesn't interfere with the varietal integrity that, in which the wines we put it. And so for me, this is one of my very favorite wines to make. It is really, I think, shows the benefit of what you do in a vineyard. And really, if you care for it in a vineyard, which I think for a long period of time, that really wasn't done in California. It was just a blending grape, and so they just let it produce a tremendous amount of fruit, and they didn't really worry about really taking care of it like the high quality level that they need to in order to produce a single varietal of Petite Sirah. And so that's been happening over the last few years, over the last 15, 20 years, where you're seeing some producers produce some wines, Petite Sirah, at a very high level of quality and character. And so with this vineyard, I've been working, as I say, for 15 years with this vineyard, and it's taken me a while really to learn the vineyard and what does best with this vineyard. So I'd say over the last 5 years, 6 years, the wines have just been so consistent coming out of there. And a lot of it's because of the work that we're doing early in the vineyard to take care of the vines and to give it the proper light and room to grow, you might say. This wine is a lot of plum skin, a little bit of blueberry, a lot of tar, garrigue. And garrigue is a term, basically it's like the brush and rock underneath brush and all mixed together, and it has kind of like a sagey type of characteristic mixed with rocks and so forth and dust. And so there's a little bit of that kind of component within the wines, and it's surrounded by brush. So there's all different kinds of varieties of brush that's around there, plant life. And so that takes that on. That's part of the terroir in which this grows. What's good about the vineyard is that it's on an upslope. So Lake County is, as I say, is very, very hot, but in this one location, it cools down at night. So sometimes it gets down, even in the winter, or in the summer rather, it gets into the high 50s in general, which is really pretty low for that area. But normally it's the temperatures range from 62 at night to about on average probably right around 95 degrees on average, or a little bit higher, and depending upon the year. But it's a tremendous growing site, and the fruit that I've been producing, making the wines from this vineyard have been just stellar and extremely consistent year after year after year. And it's also one of the longest lives. I'm drinking some 2005s now that are wonderful. So there's a good 15 years. You never know how long your wines are going to last until you really get to that point. So when you first start making it, you just don't know, okay, what's going to be the longevity of our wines? Well, we can honestly say that they can go 15 years and be really strong. And a little bit of note on that, far as when I talk about wines that are, that are still good after 15 years, or they're drinkable after 15 years. I mean, not just that they're just drinkable, but it has vitality to them. That they still have, a certain amount of, youth. You need to have that youth. You need the youth to go with the age as well, and they have that. And that's really, really important. It goes across when I talk about in my wines that can age. I still want to make sure that they have that balance, that youth, that vibrance within those wines.